becoming a web developer and going to find a school to learn development was I really wanted to solve problems more than just what graphic design went into. So through Carolina Code School, I really developed some really awesome tools that I could help. And I wanted to solve some problems that were real life and also to someone that I really love and that's close to my family. My father is here today, Bob, and I solved a lot of issues for him and his company to automate that he spends a daily task doing. And that's what I want to show you today. So my father runs an IT company. It's called Renobob. And a lot of his clients have broken computers. So my first thought was, when I put on my client hat, was, okay, my computer's broken. How am I going to get to Bob? Well, I'm probably going to have to use my phone. And well, this is a web development class, so I need to make a mobile website so that his clients can still get to him. I really wanted to put on my client hat and think about this way. So I included 2 buttons here that say Get Help. Each button, when you click on it, is going to take you straight to the form. So there's no confusion, there's no, like, I don't know where to go exactly. But then once you get down here, you're like, do I know Bob? How do I know that I want Bob to fix my computer? Well, no worries, we've got a sticky nav for you right here, which you can click and it'll tell you about Bob. You can even see the reviews about Bob's, and even the pricing about Bob. So I did lean a little bit on my graphic design background here just to kind of get things really smooth. I really wanted to alleviate any confusion or any troubles that you feel like you had. And then something that I really enjoyed doing was running through this form. So you need help. Well, these are the 3 things my father can really help you with. So the simple question is your computer broken, or you're having printer issues, or maybe you have some other computer problem that he can help you with. So if you hit computer and you're like, oh, just kidding, it was my printer, don't worry, you can hit the go back button and we can hit printer. And so just to be more mobile friendly, just make sure everything fit here. And for a quick go through, I'm just going to pre-populate some fields that I have. But I would like to really mention that something that was hard to deal with that I had to work through with Python and hitting my database was using this phone number as a unique ID. So if you've ever owned a business or you've been around administrative folders, we have client folders. So that would be, you have a new client that comes in, you're going to write their name on a folder, we're going to fire them alphabetically. Well, this is kind of what this does. So I've allowed someone who's not logged in to actually be able to edit the data in the back end. So this person's allowed to create a new client. I didn't want 1,000 clients with the name Sarah. So what I chose to do is use the phone number as a unique ID, and it will ping the database that's already created. And it'll say, do we have this phone number or do we not? And if we already have this phone number, then this client will not be created. Instead, we'll attach the job that's about to be created to this client. That way you don't have multiple people, and you don't really have a job history at that point. So that was something that was really fun and logical that I had to think through. If you hit submit, move you on to the next thing. Again, I kept the form really short. You're already really flustered, you know something really expensive of yours just broke. So I have pulled down issues for you. These, thankfully with my dad, just helped me tell me like the most issues that he goes through. Again, doing this form saves him time and you time, because time is money. So if you know the issue already, then you can go ahead and let him know, as well as your operating system. Maybe you know your operating system, maybe you don't. Included a cute little message that said, hey, it's okay if you don't know, just tell us I don't know. Again, the time is money, so if you know your model and your issue and what operating system, my dad can have that problem ready to come to your house and fix it. But we can just pretend like we don't know. And you're going to hit submit. When you hit submit, I just wanted to cue you visually that something's happening. Nothing's really happening with that spinner, but in my client hat, when I put it on, I thought about it. When you hit submit, nothing happens. You're like, did it send? I'm frustrated. How do I know this happened? So I just added a little cue there for you as a client that, hey, something's happening. It actually sent. And then there's just a nice little message. This is, hey, we got your message. We'll be back with you soon. The cool part about here is it's actually going to text my father. So now he's going to receive a text message that says, hey, you have a new job. Go check it out. Why don't you look? So that was really interesting. That was the API I used, which is a tool from a third party. And it just texts my dad and says, hey, you have a new job. Go check it out. And this is set up for every time someone hits that submit button. And then my father would probably be coming to either his computer or maybe his computer. There's your little text message, so we just got it. So it's from Tulio. So I included an admin login on the home page as well. So it's this cute little anchor down here. It's hidden. I did also want to include, in case you get here and you're not supposed to be here, I did include a message just to say, hey, thanks for coming to find us, but if you're here by accident, click this button, we'll go back to the home page. So I just really wanted to think about all the things that could be there and alleviate all the confusion that could happen. So this now, I created the client side page for my father, which already alleviates a lot of issues for him, as he currently doesn't really have a landing page where he can have a form. It tells him when a new job comes in. But I wanted to alleviate a couple more problems with him by using a CRM. So this is the back end for my dad. I'm just going to go ahead and show you how he can use it on his desktop as well. So it's responsive. And the first thing you see when you log in on the back end is going to be the new jobs. So we're here clicked on the new jobs, and these are all the jobs that have just come in that he hasn't looked at yet. And then we have open jobs, and then we have all the jobs. So all of the job history. And another cool feature I implemented here was to be able to search for a job. So as soon as you start typing, just like Patrick's search bar, it's going to dynamically search for an answer to your problem. You can even search, so that was your client's last name, maybe you want to search for all the printer jobs, maybe you want to search for all the computer jobs. So those are all there. I would like to say, before I dive into it, it might get a little confusing real quickly, but that's only because I want to say I connected everything. So when I click on a job is going to populate the client, and then from there you can click on the client to edit the client, but the client will also have all of the job history. And so I just wanted to make sure everything was connected so you don't really get lost. So on this view, if you wanted to check out the job that he just got, he's going to click the job. And we've got the client attached here so he can know where he's going, he knows their phone number, he knows their email. He can edit the client's profile from here, and we'll go over that in just a second. But this is still our job view, so we can hit edit on the job, and now the job's not new, it's open. And he can add extra notes here as well. Again, I just wanted to create something to alleviate all the admin, paperwork, and filing system. My father also has been running this business for over 15 years, and he is now looking to hire part-time help. So that was also a problem that I needed to alleviate, was how do I give all this knowledge to someone else that he has stuck in his head. So when I thought about that, a really good thing to do would be also to add notes. So if you're going to add a note onto the project, you probably want to know who said it, what day they said it, and things like that. So we can just type a note. We'll hit submit. And then this just also includes, so we have Bob said this, and then if another client logs in with their login, it just populates their name and says who said it. This way you can leave notes for each other on the job, like their dog's really cute, bring treats, or something like that, you know? Yes. And then I'd like to show off my really fancy Rolodex. I really wanted to make finding clients easy as well, so I created just something that I visually thought was really fun, because I included a bunch of sticky navs, which if you don't know what that means, it means this A is going to stick until it hits B, and then until it hits C, so that's just kind of fun, visually fun to go through. But as well as it takes all of his clients and puts them alphabetically and visually cues you to where to go. Here again, you can search for clients, but I included that he can search by phone number. He might know their phone number more than he knows their name, or maybe even their email address. So those are just features I included, which was a pretty in-depth search function to do there. And as you can see, it's with each letter or each number. So he only has to know a couple of letters, or maybe he only knows the area code as well. And then if we click on a client, it's going to look familiar. It kind of looks like the job view, but now you're on the clients. So I'd like to point out, I did say that the phone number is the most unique ID that I use, but sometimes people are going to change their phone numbers, right? So we wanted to make sure that he can still edit their phone number. So we can come here in the back end and hit 8, but you're not going to lose your jobs. Just because you updated the client, you're not going to lose your past jobs, but now the new jobs will be attached with the new phone number. So again, just alleviating confusion and stress about these jobs. And you can click a job from here and go back to see the client as well. And then something that I've been working on is also appointments. So he's going to have to book appointments with these people to go to their house and help fix it, or maybe they're going to come to him. So there's an appointment, upcoming appointments for him. And then just because Bob has this new website doesn't mean everyone's going to use the new website, right? We all have that time where people have to convert over. So I still wanted to give the option, this little plus button, which is create, has 3 things for him. He can create a new client. So there's a new person that calls him, then he can create that client. Then we have create a job. Something really cool, at least I think that's really cool that I included on here. I used that search function I had, and I included it for him to be able to look up jobs. So these are all the jobs with the last name Hooper. I mean all the clients with the last name Hooper. And he can add the client, so that's going to pre-populate the fields for him. So he selected that, and now this job has that client attached to it, so that job will be attached to that client's history. So that's really awesome, and as well, when you hit submit, it's going to text him and tell him, hey, you have a new job, just so he knows. So what if his other employees are doing it? And then something I just implemented is appointments, and I've been working with Google Calendars so that when you make a new appointment, see, you got people calling him all the time. And when you search for a job in this field here, you can search for all the jobs by the person's last name or issue or whatever. And again, you'll hit add job, and it pre-populates almost all the fields here. So that pre-populates email, and I have default set in there, just like rent Bob appointment, addresses. And when you hit submit, this is going to take the client's name and the client's email and send an invitation out to them to say, hey, this is our meeting time, would you accept this? And it also adds to his Google Calendar as well. Right now, I only have them implemented working locally. I've worked through quite a bit of this. I still have some time to work on some of the other things, but it works with my database right now, which means he can at least use it as an appointment setter on his website. And I'm not too far off from using it outside of there. And I just included these nice little modules, so instead of having to type in the date and time, you can just select it off of a calendar, which again is visually helpful. So in conclusion, this site was to automate all the tasks for my dad's company, just filing clients, attaching jobs, history, service requests, and appointments. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
Good morning, Mom.
Nice.
We didn't notice, Mom, until you said that.
I have a question for Bob.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
How much better is this than what you currently use?
Oh, what I currently use is this. So it's immensely better. I mean, we actually, Rebecca, Sarah and I have talked about this in the past, and this is a perfect time for me to get something, and she's actually going to be paid after the class because she'll be doing more work on it.
I was going to ask how much.
I didn't know that. I was going to say it's 28 years of racing me, so.
But no, I'll have some other additions to it, so it's actually a real world project.
Nice.
Sarah, this looks great. What was the most challenging thing for you, and how did you overcome it?
Sure. Well, I'd say Tulio was difficult at first. Maddie's really awesome, and she knows I'm going to come to her first and be like, help me with this. And she goes, no, you're smart enough, you can do this. So having to just rely on myself and read through those documentations and get it down really showed me that I could do it. So Tulio was difficult, but once I got it, I was like, that's not enough. So I went to go to Google Calendars, and that's a lot. So I'm getting it to work locally. I'm really proud of that. Just to get it to work there, and I'm excited to like push it forward in the future.
Great stuff.
What's up?
So Bob lands a huge client.
Mhm.
He's got excess cash. And he
Yeah.
says, look, development team, which is you, I've got a couple things I need. What, if you had to have your input there,
Yeah.
the next thing to build, the next investment to make, what would
Great
you
question.
want to build out next?
Great question. I already got a laundry list. I really want to include invoicing so that when he goes to close a job, it says, okay, how many hours did you work? What was the rate? And then he can hit, the buttons and hit submit. And that way, just like Google, it would send it to his client through email, and then they can figure that out through email. Right, yes. And then you can close a job like paid or not. Another thing I really wanted to do is to be able to star a client. So you can say like star this client or the job. Just simple things.
I have some clients that I've had for 15 years,
Yeah.
and I do work for them quicker than I do for other clients, because I've had them for 15 years. So, yes, that she knows that I have some clients that every 3 months call about the
Yeah.
problem. I mean, whatever it is, it's something.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
cool.
You guys have any other questions?
Do friends of Sarah get quicker service?
What?
Do friends of yours get quicker service from Bob?